Hi, this is Show Live TV, and right now we're gonna get started and interview you.
Sammi Auto.
Okay, and so I just want to start with a couple of questions. What's your origin? Tell us about your family, where you come from.
I was born and raised originally from Ogden, Utah. My mother's side of the family originally came from Temple, Texas, Dallas area. And then they moved to around in Brigham, had their own business, and then my mother later on went down into Ogden. She started her own family, involved with my father. His name is Kimball McCubbin. His original origin story, he was an Ogden original. It's been around Ogden originals, around the Garcia family, around the Gallegos family, Hernandez, Gomez's, Lopez's, Valdez. Just there's a lot of family ties within Ogden City itself.
Okay. So with
Luceros and Mendez's.
Okay, I was like, so with that being said, do you have any kids? Any siblings out here?
So on my mother's side, I'm the only child, and then on my father's side, I'm the youngest four. I haven't really spoken to really none of my brothers. Like, we haven't really had like that close relationship because the oldest one, he was always in and out of prison, and we actually had like some rocky, like some serious beef between our history and our past. And then the other two brothers, I haven't really talked to them because they're out in like Texas and Illinois.
Okay. So
Illinois.
who are you on a normal day behind music?
A normal day behind music?
Yeah.
I could be the most creative person or a helping hand to help creativity. I love creativity. I love music. I love the meaning of music. I love how it expresses a certain like oppression or something that like you've been bottling up inside, because us as human beings, we deal with a lot. It doesn't matter like what our individual situation is. It could be a tragic one, it could be a blessing, it could be an easy one, but like I know a lot of us really like has been going through a lot of hardships, especially like recently or amongst these like past like 4 or 5 years. And so I know it's been affecting like a lot of families at that time, but I just try to think about music as a way to express and to get yourself out from the situation that you're in, at least for a minute, before you have to refurbish yourself and get back into your life situation.
Right, I definitely understand that. So with that being said, do you just throw yourself completely into music, or do you like have a job outside of doing music?
Well, I have a job outside of doing music because, in this day's economy, you have to have multiple incomes. You have to have multiple grinds, side hustles. You just can't, have the freedom to do it. And so you have to, like, basically nowadays make your own freedoms to live the music, to be in the music. And so I have to set a time for work, and then I have a time for music, and I have a time for like filming, and now I'm getting the schedule that I needed, as well as handling family. And yes, I do have children, by the way, that you asked earlier. But yes, and so when I have my music time, I really dive into it, and it means a lot to me, so I spend real amounts of time on it.
Okay. So with that being said, what made you pick your rapper name and why?
What made me pick my rapper name? It was a discussion like amongst a lot of people and everything on like what the rapping name was going to be. I was recording with Ziploc Entertainment and Young C Major. That's like a real like OG producer that was out here in the lake. Like he like had a lot of rappers came through, like The Game. He had before, like they did like feature packs or whatever. Like he had to personally contact like big rappers to get big features, and Young C Major was the person to get in contact with like a bunch of them, you know. Like Cynic also like was a person that has like a lot of connections with like legendary rappers, and that's how he used to hit them back in the day before they did the whole feature pack thing. And so what made me chose my rapper name is that the capability of doing like a three, like, you know, like when you heard like a semi-automatic, you think of like a 3-round burst. Yeah. That particularly, and so that's where my double timing and triple timing comes in with my references on it. It's like a steadily rhythm, but it's also actually going back into the origin of Ogden, because in the early like 1900s they were like the first like to deal with the World War situations, and like honestly like Ogden had like underground bunkers and everything like that, and first like dealt with the first automatic weapons. Okay. So that's where like a lot of the originality comes from in Ogden and in the streets of Ogden. And so I think it represents the town in a certain way, but not like show boast. It's just like who I am, built and coming from the city that I'm from. Okay, so since we're on the topic of like how the history behind Ogden and like where your name originated from, what do you like most or love most about your city? The thing that I love most about my city is that it was really all family. It was a family community thing. Like I love it how like people can come out and like, even though that we're in like hardships and everything, we can like really come together, and so I think that's where it's been like a hectic collateral between like love and hate. It's like a love-hate thing with Ogden, because we have to be careful on what we do with our egos. I think a lot of people since like the beginning of Ogden have been trying to have a name for themselves ever since like the history of hip-hop has happened and the history of celebrities have happened in the early 90s. I believe that's where the battle and the competition came in, and so there was a separation in Ogden for a long time, but I feel like everybody's overcoming that situation. Like I'm seeing like a lot of my brothers that been away for years, like 10, 12 years in prison, now they're like kind of like changing like the ways that they want to do, and they want to like really think and refurbish themselves and be to help the community and help the people and civilians in Ogden City. And so nowadays I feel like Ogden is coming together more than ever. Well, I'm glad to hear that and see your perspective on that. What was the epiphany that you had where like you wanted to start to take music serious and like start to do it like on a more professional level? Okay, and so this is, excuse me. So what made me want to do it on a professional level is I was always a fan of hip hop. I was bred on it. I listened to old Ice Cube records, old Eminem records, Dr. Dre records, like ever since like I was 3. First Eminem album I listened to ever since I was 5, because that was the culture that was around, you know, everybody listened to that shit. All your older cousins, your older brothers, all listened to it. Everybody listened to it, and so it just came embedded with me for a long time, so it was incubated. So that's the one I said on the last podcast I was in. And what made it come out is I know that there was a certain cultural difference between like you know, it was kind of like a segregation of music in a sense before it came in. You know, it was fighting oppression, but we didn't know what oppression that we were fighting. Later on, I went to a Bone Thugs concert around 2007. Yeah, 2007, I went to a Bone Thugs concert. And it was like very inspiring to me because Flesh and Bone barely came out of doing a 9-year bid, and so he got related back to his family and everything. But the people that opened up for them, and I didn't know that there was like, you know, hip hop artists that was like outside of Ogden or in the state of Utah or anything, or anybody that was trying to rap at that time. When I seen a person that was, you know, how I say, the same color of my skin, open up for them, and they had their share and take the stage and everything, right? That's where, because I always loved music myself, I always had it embedded in me. When I seen him do it, and I don't even know who the artist is nowadays, but I don't even know if they're still doing music. But that moment made me say, if he can do it, I know I can.
Right. Yeah, most definitely. I can respect that. To reference on what you were saying, like how Ice Cube was like your inspiration, like when you did the other interview.
Oh, yeah.
When the interviewer had asked you, just not like if you say all the lyrics and you said yeah, and he said, but not the, referring to nigga.
I know.
Why is it that you said that? Or where like you refer to yourself as being the whitest nigga?
Being?
Yeah.
As in referral into what?
Yeah, like you had referred yourself as being the whitest nigga, and I'm curious on.
I like that curveball that you said. Okay, so when I originally said that, and that was like in a process of 10 years ago, it was a point of controversy that where you had to step up and be in a point of controversy and be in the middle of a situation and able to overcome a situation or overcome an oppression. So, but I went about it the wrong way.
Okay, so when you refer to yourself as like overcoming the oppression, like do you feel like you would say that as
I was oppressed in both categories because I was a low-income white person that was in the middle of a Latino and black neighborhood.
Oh, okay. I was kind of curious about that. I wasn't sure if you were referring to life as in self or like being in.
It was a personal thing, and so I don't like to really promote it and everything, because once you advertise it like that, that's where the negative stance comes into it. And so, but that's where like rap had a negativity towards it, because you had to be the top dog at all costs. But now how everybody is open-minded and everybody's into it together, I say that how it said, Wigger meant white intelligent gangster gains exceeded recognition.
Okay, I like that so much better.
And so that's where I wanted to have a standpoint on it, because anybody can throw that curveball, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially when you look into the back history. And so that's why I want to stand clear, and then that's what I love about Show Life TV.
Okay, sounds good.
On that, you know. But all right, on that stance, now I know a personal stance on a personal standpoint, because it's like I've been in those shoes, like sometimes, like, you know, you had older uncles and everything, especially just listening to rap music, or like, you know, and they can call you that word too. And so it's like, so that's where I didn't like to promote it, but I did say it just because it was really personal for me, and like because I had them call me the N-word, just because like I lived the culture and everything, because I was from my dad's side of the culture, and then I had, you know, but I had like other, you know, on my white side of the family as well, and there was like a big like racial segregation because like I'm half Spaniard and I'm also, you know, half Irish as well, and so that's where like it's kind of like you end up being like the mutt of the situation, and so I'm just kind of like speaking it to like all mutts out there a little bit, you know, low key or high key. It doesn't matter where you take it. But that's where I wanted to clarify on that. But I know like when you come to an adult and you have a daughter and you have a son and like, you know, I have a stepson. He's 22 years old now. I raised him ever since he was 5 and everything, and you know, and he's black. And then I have 4 Samoan children that I'm raising right now. I shout them out. I got a shout out to my girl as well. Chanel, I love you very much. And then I have my personal daughter. I'm about to see her this Thanksgiving as well, you know, and so we can have that off the record or whatever like that. But that's what I love about it. I love about family. And so that's why when I got older, it made me realize on how ignorant you can be as a young teenager, as a young person, to try to take over the world. And honestly, you realize as an older person that you can just share the world around with your family and loved ones and friends.
All right, I definitely appreciate you clearing that up, and I'm pretty sure the viewers do as well. Moving on to our next couple of things I want to dive into. What is your favorite songs that you have and why?
Okay. All right, so that's why I like the Iconic series. My like latest album project that I've been releasing, like I already released volume 1 and volume 2. I love those songs. Like I love the song with my mom. It's Debbie. I think that's track 5 or 7. That's on Iconic volume 1. And then I love the song True. That's on Iconic volume 2. That's on track 5. So if you guys listen to those and everything, and you'll see why, because that's where it holds dearly to me, you know, and it really speaks like real knowledge. It's not like a facade or anything like that. It's like the real me. You can feel like it's the real me. I like those tracks, and then it just depends. Like I'm a Gemini, so I can flip back and forth. So I like those, and then I like those hard tracks. You know, I got one with the big homie Tilo and Cynic called what is it called? The OGs told me. Hold on, let me see. Let me pick it up real quick. Oh, it's called Gen X.
Okay.
Yeah, Gen X with Tilo and Cynic. And then I also have one with Jelani Harris. That's one of my favorite tracks. It's called The Way. That's always a slapper. You gotta check that one out. And then the new one that I'm slapping with right now, I got my homeboy Insomniac on. I like it. It's called Ad. I just barely released it. It's been slapping on the radio. I feel like it brings out a different perspective or whatever of the industry, on like how the industry like lied to us and what we had to do to have an image and everything instead of being ourselves. And so I like that song. And then I have a new song that's called Ooh Wow that I've been, you know, rocking with and everything, because I like them. They're more like personal, and it feels like more me than anything, you know. And then that's what it feels like to be an artist, to like develop from what your past music is to what your music is now.
Yeah, I definitely respect that, like on a deeper level, just because like there's certain ways that like you express yourself, and then like acknowledging that like there's healthier ways than others. I can definitely respect that. So I had overheard you talking earlier and said that you had 2 songs on the radio. What 2 songs were on the radio?
It was Ad, and that was produced by Sir Freak, and that was feature me and Insomniac. And then I also have the other one that's called Ooh Wow. That was produced by Sir Freak as well. And then that was just a solo one of mine.
Okay.
It's actually on another song on the radio too.
Oh, yeah. 3 songs on the radio.
Okay, so it's, sorry, my apologies.
The Future, that's off of the Pain Before the Fame album from my boy Insomniac. And you gotta check that one out. It's like, it's about changes, you know. Like if you ever just hear it, or like if I ever do a cappella for you guys later.
Okay. So when you had heard can you tell us how they had approached you on asking like if you wanted your song to be on the radio, or like how did that go about?
Okay, I think it was actually like through Instagram, and I honestly love Instagram a lot more than Facebook. Like I like Facebook for like, you know, like personal talking to friends and stuff, you know, but I like Instagram for more business. If you're really trying to get your business out there, like Instagram is a really good tool. And so actually that's how I got my song on the radio, because they liked one of my stories or they liked one of my posts, and then I just instantly followed them, and I just went and asked, and I was all like, hey, you guys play local music? And then that's when they were like giving me like the whole rundown. They're like, yeah, we play anything. So to people that's a new independent artist that's trying to, you know, look or trying to get your songs on the radio, I would highly suggest just email them or Instagram them. You can, especially if they like one of your contents. If they like one of your contents, instantly hit them back up.
And that was
90.9 FM, KRCL radio.
Okay.
I got you, my guy Keith McDonald, you know?
So with that being said, how did you feel hearing your own music on the radio? Like, did you feel like you finally made it, or it was the start of your career?
See, it is a step. It really is a step. And like, it felt really good to like really like be like considered like in that film, in that field, or in that realm of the music that you want to, because like back then it's been hard to get in that industry for a long time. And like I like how like the new media outlets and streaming outlets, like now people like that can really express their talents and they can express themselves. Now they have an outlet to do it, and it gives other creatives a way to figure out their creations as well.
So, when you say like about like the creations and like how you started from like, you know, being, I guess in a way in like the middle or like less than fortunate class, when you go through life thinking about what's your next step to get closer to where you want to be in life, is there like a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan? Like, because you said that it was 10 years ago when you had like the mishaps, like was 10 years when you started, or it was just 10 years when like you started to realize you can be your authentic self without anyone?
Yeah, it really is like a journey within oneself. Like it can like go into a 5-year plan, but it can also go into a 10-year plan. But you never know. You just can't plan for the future, because there's always reality and mishaps, and you know what I mean. We could plan to be a surgeon, but we end up being a barber. Or we could plan to be a barber and we end up being an engineer technician. Like it can happen. So plans can normally change, and so like usually, yeah, you can like, I would say like, yeah, like a 5-year plan, I would say that's probably more realistic and everything, because the plans and the dreams can change, or they can multitude or whatever into something. So yeah, it was like 10 years ago, like on the mishaps, but now like I pick myself up and I feel like I'm stronger than ever, because those mishaps is what made me to the person that I am today, and the knowledge that I want to give today in today's age.
Okay, so when you said that you have a 5-year plan, do you mind sharing what your 5-year plan?
Well, my 5-year plan is okay. So my 5-year plan is really like development in like my own self. I'm trying to market myself more like into like an independent business because I'm like really an entrepreneur and philanthropist. I can like normally like come up with ideas with like clothing and branding. I have like some people or whatever that like are into like the cannabis industry, and so we're trying to like study into the cannabis industry and develop in our own strains and everything like that as well. I also am interested in like technology basis to have like my own like certain technologies of probably like cameras and programs and like beat making programs myself as well.
Okay, so with that being said, before we close out, is there anyone that you want to shout out?
I get the shout out Show Life TV for sure for putting me on, for, you know what I mean, just keeping it real and keeping it realistic. Shout out to my boy Insomniac and everything for riding out with me and everything and doing these shows and like really like killing the stuff for this past year. Shout out to 41 Records for letting me use their facility for dropping out my albums and everything. I like to shout out my family, my loved ones, my moms. I love you very much. Shout out my girl Chanel and the family. I love them very much. Shout out to all my kids, Kalijah. Shout out to True. And all Ogden City, all Utah City, all Salt Lake City, and all people of Utah. I love y'all very much.
One more thing. If the viewers wanted to follow you, where could they?
They can follow me on all platforms. They can follow me on Twitter. They can follow me on Instagram. They can follow me on Facebook. My Instagram is official Sammi Auto. So that's OFFICIALSAMMIAUTO. And then everything else, you can check me out as Sammi Auto, SAMMIAUTO, or Sammi Automatic.
All right, we're closing out. Thank you. It's been a blessing and a great opportunity to interview you, and I hope to see more coming from you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.